You're with Clement Manyathela.
702.
All right, Snuki Zikalala is ANC veteran who is joining us now via Zoom, who's with the Veterans League. Is the Veterans League president. Thank you so much for making time for us, Mr. Zikalala. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to your listeners.
Yeah, let me just
It's a pleasure to be on your platform.
Yeah, let me get your thoughts first. Just as the Veterans League, what are your thoughts on the return of Ambassador Rasool and, of course, the process that's going to be unfolding next for the president to select the next ambassador? What do you think our approach also should be as we try to rebuild relations with the U.S.?
Yeah, Clement, I think we as veterans were really shocked and when Ambassador Rasool was made a persona non grata in America because he was involved with MISTRA, which is an academic platform, and those were academic discussions they were having. And we thought that America, being a democracy that we understand it was, we would understand exactly where he's coming from. But within 12 hours of that interaction, and he was made an illegal immigrant in America. We're shocked, and the manner in which it was handled, because we'd have thought that maybe the American head of international relations was going to call him and said, look, we heard and saw your remarks at MISTRA. This is unacceptable in as far as we're concerned. Can you explain to us? And of course, we'd have made a complaint to the president before they took that decision. But, well, it's their decision. It has got nothing to do with us. But we were shocked. And at the same time, we were also shocked by the manner in which they decided to deal with South Africa as a whole. And as you know, that the president's emergency plan for AIDS itself, it was withdrawn immediately. And the AGOA is being threatened. And the hostility that the Trump administration has towards the African National Congress and our government is really unacceptable. And that we are saying that it means that they got wrong influence from some individuals. As you know, that Afrikaners went, a few people from Afrikaner Solidarity and AfriForum, if I'm not mistaken, they went in and said that, look, the expropriation of land it's been implemented and haphazardly, and they are being persecuted in South Africa, which is not true. Which is not true at all. And we all know that it's not true. And the Trump administration decided that they should listen to them instead of investigating. But this is contrary to the Americans who are here, who are very progressive, because they've been here for years. And some of them that we have interacted with, they said, look, we have never heard or seen Afrikaners being persecuted in South Africa. Yeah. We've never seen land expropriation against Afrikaners at all. And so I think the decency of it, I think the Trump administration should have consulted with the residents of America who are here, and of course made a thorough research. They do have institute that can do that with them within 10 minutes. They'll tell them exactly what's the state of affairs in South Africa.
What are your reflections, though, on the posture the ANC has taken towards the U.S.? Because the U.S. has always seen you as the ANC as being antagonistic, as being anti the United States of America. I mean, you haven't really been that friendly to the U.S. as the ANC. I think from a government point of view, there's always been just that level-headedness of we are operating at a diplomatic level here. You know, we have to be measured on what we say, what we do. But as the ANC, I mean, the statements I remember that you guys have issued on America have always been hostile. So isn't America giving you a taste of your own medicine?
No, we have not been hostile. We have been non-aligned. We have not been hostile, we have been non-aligned. And we've made sure that we won't be told by Americans how to determine our policies and how to implement them. Currently, as you know, that we are being punished for pursuing our self-determination at home, and of course expressing solidarity with the Palestinian people. We are being punished because of that. And we're not going to be told by any other country what our foreign policy should be, because we're a sovereign state, and our policies are based on our Freedom Charter, are based on our Constitution, and we won't allow any individual to interpret our constitutional values, principles, and objectives the way they want. And so we're an independent country, and we believe in human rights. And we're not going to be told that we should sever ties with the Palestinian people. We cannot allow genocide to continue in Palestine, where within 6 months, more than 50,000 young women and children have been slaughtered. That is genocide. And we cannot be told that we must shut up. We can't afford that. We've been under oppression for almost 300 years, under the apartheid oppression, and we fought for that. We fought for survival. We fought to liberate our country. We fought to have a constitutional democracy. All South Africans did that. And so what we are saying is that it's not going to be easy for us to be bullied, and we won't allow that to happen. Yeah. But we do have good relations with American people, and we do accept and agree that there are 600 companies that are here and which are creating more than 200,000 jobs, which is good for us. But it's unacceptable that they think that they can bully us, and we should compromise on our values.
Yeah, Mr. Zikalala, I do think that, at a government level, you're right. The good relations have been there, even, albeit some challenges here and there. But I think as the ANC now, I'm separating ANC from government, as the ANC, your relationship with the US hasn't been hunky-dory. I've done a lot of stories about what the ANC has said during their briefings, when they even sometimes reflect on, even at your conferences, you reflect on the role of the US in geopolitics. You've always been harsh on the US, and I'm not suggesting that you are wrong in your analysis or assessment. I'm just saying, as the ANC, the posture has been harsh towards the US, and it's okay. But you must own it as the ANC and say, yes, we've criticized them because they've gone and done this and this in other countries, or they've tried to put pressure unnecessarily and unfairly on other countries just because they've got the money to do so. Because, in fact, when you have a country that you have good relations with as a political party, you often even go on visits. I mean, the ANC has gone to Russia before. The ANC has gone to, was it the UAE or Iran? So you do meet sometimes with other countries or parties from other countries, because you can even operate and get along at that level. What I'm interested in, though, now is what happens next? Because you've indicated before that, and I saw this in the Sunday newspapers, that you believe that it would be naive to rebuild relations with the US. What do you mean by that? Are you suggesting we just give up?
No. We don't give up. We don't give up. We are saying that with the Trump administration, with his hostility towards the ANC and South African government, with him not wanting to listen to reality, to the truth of what's happening in our country, it will be naive. But at the same time, we are saying that our president says that, look, Marumo Fatsi, and he says, let's tread carefully, let's negotiate and see what we can get out of it. And so we appreciate what the president says, and we have confidence in the president that he may change the attitude of Trump, but he does not have to. He won't be able to bend on his demands. Won't allow him to treat our president as he treated Zelensky. That cannot happen in South Africa. And so all that we are saying, that looking at his intransigence of the Trump administration, their arrogance, it's very difficult for you at the face value to say, can I convince this person that what he is doing is not true? And what, of course, he's doing is not true. What he heard from the Afrikaners is not true. Because if it was based on research, and they have the capacity to do research. If it was based on facts of what the Afrikaners were saying, we'll definitely mend our relations. But all that we're saying with the Afrikaners, but the Afrikaners themselves, they were very disingenuous for them to have gone out and said what they said.
So it's AfriForum, right? AfriForum, not the Afrikaners, because there are other Afrikaners who don't
AfriForum. Yeah. In the group called AfriForum. Yes.
Yeah. What happens next, though, Mr. Zikalala? Like, what I'm asking is, do you think, as the ANC Veterans League, that there's we can rebuild relations? Because whichever way you look at it, at some point we need to sit down with the officials from the Trump administration. Any negotiation requires trade-offs. So what do we trade off? What concessions are we willing to make? Because I can tell you now, you can send even Thabo Mbeki or whichever best diplomat you have. When you get there, what the Trump administration wants is concessions. What are we willing to concede on?
We won't get into a transactional relationship with Americans. We won't trade off the the Palestinians' rights for us to get economic support from the Americans. That's one thing that we'll never do. Then we'll be selling our souls as the African National Congress, because we're a principle, a organization that belongs in constitutional democracy and in the rule of law. And so we'll definitely won't be able to, and our president knows that. And so that's why we have confidence in him to say that you should not have transactional relations with Trump. As you saw when he was dealing with Zelensky, you give me your minerals, and we get into a ceasefire immediately, we give you weapons. We can't enter into that negotiation with the Trump administration, but we leave that to the president of the African National Congress and the country, because we have confidence in him that he will definitely make sure that the policies of ANC are not being undermined by the United States of America.
Mm. Who do you think would perhaps be best as the president considers Rasool's replacement? Helen Zillett says Tony Leon. He's got some experience when he was in Argentina. What do you think of that suggestion? Some people are mentioning the name of Lindiwe Sisulu. Some people are mentioning Andries Nel. I heard the ambassador Rasool yesterday saying we mustn't select anybody just who's going to be white because we're trying to appease a white president in the U.S. What are your thoughts on all of that?
Well, as you know, that the African National Congress believes in non-racialism and in unity and diversity. And so we won't venture into say who the president must appoint, because that's the president's prerogative. But if we feel that the person who's been appointed is not appointed on merit, won't be able to represent South Africa and the South African nation, we've got the right as veterans to seek an audience with the president, which he will definitely give us. And he also always give us a hearing and say, but Comrade President, we don't think this will be the right person to represent South Africa. And the person who believes in non-racialism, the person who believes in economic growth of the country, the person who believes in solidarity with the Palestinian people, we don't think is the right person. The president will give us a hearing. And so we don't want to venture into that because that is his prerogative. But we know very well that we do have a hearing with the president. If we feel aggrieved, we feel that this is not the right person, we'll definitely seek an audience with him, and he'll listen to us.
Should it be someone neutral, though? I mean, do you agree that whatever decision the president makes has to be strategic? It's got to be tactical, because we're in uncharted waters here. You can't operate like you're operating with any administration. There's serious hostility. The relations are at an all-time low. There's no trust for each other. The president has to consider all of those things. So some suggestions from some of our listeners this morning is that maybe look at someone who's neutral. Look at someone in the business community, in the faith community, and not necessarily someone from the ANC or someone who's aligned or is from the Democratic Alliance. Do you agree that perhaps that could be the answer?
Well, we would prefer it if somebody who's appointed on merit, somebody who's skilled, somebody who's competent, somebody who has the interest of the country at heart. That's an individual that has to represent South Africa. Somebody who knows exactly what solidarity work is, and won't be able to throw us underneath the bus. And so it will be up to the president. The president, he's a very competent president that we have, and we want to leave it up to him. But if we have any objections, we'll definitely call him and say, Comrade President, can you give us a hearing? Which he will. And so, but as long as the person is appointed on merit, a person believes in constitutionalism, in the rule of law, and believes in rebuilding the relationships that have been spoiled between us and America.
All right, Snuki Zikalala, President of the Veterans League, the ANC Veterans League. Thank you so much for making time for us.
Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.